Welcome. How are you feeling today?
Good. I was a little sick last week, but now I'm feeling better and energized. So yeah.
Okay, super. So these interviews I do, this Fishtalks podcast, I usually interview people based on how I know them. Okay, so I can basically assign some sort of um quality that I see them most, and mostly I try to get to know them from that area. So for me, you are more of a leader kind of category. Okay, so I because it's not just me. Whoever you have interacted with, whoever we work together, they always try to keep in touch with you. You also make effort to keep in touch with them. I recall one incident when we were working together. Our van met with an accident. I don't know if you recall it. It was long way back, and it was around 10 or 11 p.m. And I think you already went home, but it was way too far for you to come because you are outside Colombo, right?
Yeah.
So the moment one of our staff called and uh, she told the address and she kept, and immediately what she told us was, I just told we met with an accident, and you felt more fuzzy than us, and you were like, "Where are you guys? Send me the address immediately. I'm coming." So that much of genuine
It was raining
care.
that day. Crazy. Can you
Yes.
remember raining? Like yeah.
So, usually I'm thinking, people try to have second thoughts. Okay, can't you manage it? There should be someone, but you directly thought, okay, I should be there. So, where is it coming from? This genuine care for people. Is it?
Um. I I think so. It's when you. I think I've been working for. Recently, I've looked back um, in my memory lane, and I've figured out I've been working for 21 years now,
Wow.
even while um, during my study leaves, before the A level exams, I have started working. So during that study leave that you give before A levels,
Mm.
so I think during that span, what I've learned the most is um, that you need to kind of, or naturally you need to be closer to people to understand um, the effectiveness of working, effectiveness of building something. Because as you know, I am like I've set up few companies now.
Mm.
So in doing so, you have to start everything from scratch.
Yeah.
You can't just start from halfway through, and you're not joining a corporate that is already built. So uh, so uh, therefore you kind of need to understand the people that you are going to work with, and even after recruiting them you need to make sure that you are connected, like that connection right now with all of this remote work, hybrid work, and then all of the automation and so on, and AI coming to the picture. um, what we are losing is that exact same thing, um, uh, which we need to still establish and continue, because I mean obviously we will be using AI for our strengths, but I mean working with people, that needs to continue. So that bond, the connection, I think it's natural. It's something natural. It comes naturally, but you need to work towards that.
Okay. So I can see that you put some effort to maintain that. But how important is it? Like, maybe we can make it a little different. What kind of effort can a person put to make the relationships at office better? Maybe you can share your personal top three techniques or something.
What sort of person?
To build a connection with others more than, it's not just a task oriented, right? So if I have a better bond with you personally as well, that I will make sure that I don't let you down when things are getting bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's again, um, what I suggest, and then this is how I deal with it,
Mm.
is that we are working with humans, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we humans tend to or prone to make mistakes or whatever, and as individuals we will always prone to make mistakes. But when we work as a team, or when we kind of listen to each and every person, so one of the strategies that I've learned and I practice to date, and I'm improving myself to date, is working with people, and kind of listening to them, not only giving commands, or demanding something, or asking them to do. But I mean, even if I go to meeting, I would always tell them, okay, what is your feeling about this, what is your take on this, and what is your solution that you can bring to the table. And I would give that opportunity to everyone, even the ones who are kind of quiet, timid, and so on. I would just bring them to the discussion. That way, you one side, you build their confidence, and they know that you are being listened to. So that way, you can kind of connect with people.
Do you know specifically anyone who have changed because of that small behavior? Like, do you see like a huge change in their behavior?
As in,
So you giving that opportunity, has it ever shown like a huge difference? Like, you might have noticed someone who is like timid and quiet, and then overall you have seen them grow. So do you have any specific examples as such?
yeah, of
You
course. I
don't
mean,
have to,
many, like I can name many people in so many different companies. Even I won't go back so many years, but let's talk about third space. I think we've had different characters. You and I both know them, who may be timid, who doesn't want to speak up much. So what I have done, is I've kind of listened to people like that, people who does not want to, who would have beautiful ideas, who would have different fresh set of ideas with a different mindset. Um, if you give them the opportunity to speak up and then give the ideas, then the next time, they one thing is, they build that confidence to come forward and speak. And the other thing is that they will, obviously, they will come up with new ideas. They will tend to kind of get their brain to work more and more to produce more ideas. That way, from one side, they become more, they become think tanks, and they come forward to um, put the ideas through, because they know that they are being listened to. That's an actual honor. um, yeah, that's an actual honor when you are being listened to.
super. Uh, so I know you're a huge fan of Simon Sinek, and obviously you get a lot of good influence from that person. But do you have any people that you look up to who you have worked with, or maybe who you are working with? So you can mention one person, and then maybe how, what are the things you have learned just by being with that person, or listening, or watching that person?
The person that I always looked up to, he's no more in this world, but he's the owner, CEO, and founder of Exitel, the Australian telecom. ISP. His name is John Linton. So I've always looked up to him. The reason why is because he understands, just like how I would listen to people. He would understand, he would listen to anyone. It doesn't have to be the seniority, it doesn't have to be the top level, top notch people. He would even come and speak to, I'll tell you a story about him. So he would come and listen to um, even the janitor or anyone, and get ideas from that person, allow them to speak up, so which has enabled, from one side, he has learned so many things from once. On the other side, he has allowed and enabled them to grow and have that confidence in their lives too. I have a story about him. If we have time, I'll share later on.
You can share it now. I mean, there's no rules for this thing.
Okay, all right. So while I was in Australia, I think we were I usually spend time after hours, to finish off and learn something new, or learn that something that I don't know, because it's a whole new realm that I've gotten into, to work for an ISP. Exetel is the fifth largest ISP in Australia. So when I work, he would walk in the office in the evenings and then come and grab a chair, pull a chair, and then sit with us and have a chat. It may be either myself, or there can be a couple of other people also who will be left in the office. So he take that opportunity to understand people. And there was one person who was kind of cleaning the office, an Indian person, and he was doing all the cleaning, and then he was like, "Oh, come here, stop it," and then he was doing vacuuming. um, so he stopped vacuuming, and he come and showed him a seat and said, "Sit. So what are you up to?" And then he was like, "Oh no, I'm studying." And he was like, "What are your dreams?" and so on. He's like, "Yeah, I want to become learn IT. I want to work for a big company afterwards. I want to settle in Australia afterwards, and take care of my family, bring them here, take care of my family." And he was like, um, "Okay, and then what are your strengths? What do you know about internet and so on?" And then he knew. So this discussion happens right opposite me, so I can hear everything.
Okay.
And then um, he was like, "Oh, I know these, and I know how to set up my home modem, to put the username, password, set it up with PPOE, LLP, and so on, and all the technical stuff." And then it was like, "Okay, why don't you stop doing this job and come and work for us as an intern from tomorrow onwards?" And then he actually started, um, and he learned really well. One thing is, you get there are a couple of things. One is you get the opportunity, and number two, just because you got an opportunity doesn't mean that you are going to reach up in the ladder. You have to use that opportunity from one side, and on the other side, you need to make sure that you have the passion for it.
Yeah.
um, and don't you should not get distracted. So this guy that I'm talking about, he's to date, I've left that company a long time ago, but he is one of the senior managers in the operation level now, who's
Wow.
in that same company now. He started cleaning the office for, he's the third party who is cleaning the office, to now being that senior manager. So if you are being offered an opportunity, don't say no to it, accept, and make sure that you work through. It's not an easy game, easy process. So that is a trait from the mentor, and the person that I'm looking up to, John Linton.
That's a great story. So this podcast, I try to listen to as many stories as possible, because we all know things as concepts and ideas. We know them, but we don't understand them until we listen to it as a story. You know what I mean? So the more stories I share, like I'll be happy because I know it will be deeper than me just knowing. Okay, so if you have stories and examples, immediately you go for it. You just share it. Don't leave it for later. Okay.
Yeah.
uh, Tej, so whatever we are today, whoever we are today, there's a huge impact that is created from our childhood. So who we were as a child, our parents, and the support we got from others, it shapes our brain and how we approach things right now. So what kind of a first of all, what kind of a child were you? Were you like a introverted, not talking or performing, or kind?
Very outgoing personality. I think from my childhood, I think until grade 6 I would stay at home, and then from that point on I used to play, go out. But I grew up very close to the church in our
Okay.
village. So everyone that I've associated are from the church. I even got married to someone who who was attending that church. So even when we want to play, even after school, I'd go to the church and we all gather there and then and start playing. But apart from that, I mean, I was very. It's not like these days now. I mean, where we didn't have any mobile phones or tablets or anything like that, not even a computer. So we always shared. I mean, we the only piece of tech that I can remember when I was schooling is obviously the television, but the extra piece of tech is the dialing phone. Like, have you seen one of those
Yes,
with
yes.
with a
I know.
dial?
I've seen on
Um,
movies, but I don't think I'm in that
yeah.
generation. Maybe. Yeah.
So in our area, we had one of those. I think for 2-3 kilometers, I think we had one. So I got the opportunity because some of the people who husbands working abroad, wives staying at home taking care of kids, the husbands would call and say, okay, I'm going to call on this day at this time to my wife, and then I am the message bearer for all of them. So I would travel, I will go, take my bike, go to the house that can be far further away from my place. So I would go and tell them, okay, your husband is going to call you on Sunday at 5:30, come there. And then every day we have like a bench at home, so people come and sit waiting for their time. So that was interesting to kind of see. But now, I mean, everyone has a mobile phone or a tablet in their hands. I mean, no, you, but it has kind of separated us, right? I mean, made us a little further away from each other than associated, like physically having those conversations. So yeah,
Do you think it's still possible through technology that we can bring the same thing back, but in a different version? Because
it's a
obviously we have
different
to.
version. Yeah. Yeah. So just like, I mean, as you know, I'm in the ed tech business now. So it is again a game changer for education. But it is the same traditional theories, the curriculums, the curriculas, the methodologies, and pedagogies that we use. But the mechanism, the teaching method that we use is just different. So yes, technology can be used to kind of get more closer to people, but in different ways. But you can still get connected. You can educate people. You can do wonders with it if you use it right.
Do you have a person that you still in touch with through technology, but the most in touch with?
Most in touch with. Most in touch with my school, from my school days. I have my best friend who's in towards Nigambo, who lives towards Nigambo. So I mean, he and I can't connect every day or every week or so, but we at least drop a message um, once every day just to say hi, and whether you're living or dead or whatever, and whether you have a better how's your day been so far and all of that. I mean, that's my childhood friend, my best friend, basically. We still, to date, we do that. So yeah.
So it looks like to me, all the relationship that you involve in, so maybe from your childhood, this is repeating that you want to make them most of the time long term.
Yeah,
Is that
I believe in long-term relationships. I believe in so the more time you spend, and the length that you are known to them, kind
mm,
of um, represents how well you know them. Like sometimes, say for an example, and if I knew you back in 2000, and I got to know you back in 2015, versus now, if you look at it, I mean, I mean, for me, I know you a lot more than how I used to know you back in 2015. I mean, you first of all, you build a perception about someone when you immediately meet them, and then that perception um, becomes an image, and it becomes um, actually the, the reality of that person with time. It
yeah.
grows, and it gets completed with time. So it's like building blocks that gets filled up um, with time,
I never thought about it that way. Yeah, at the beginning we have an image of that person. It can be true or not true, but over time it becomes, with time more data goes into your head, and then you create the real image of that person. So the more
Yeah,
time is spent, the better it becomes.
yeah.
Oh.
That's one of the reasons why, see um, you tend to get further away from people when you get to know them more, or you get to get closer to them when you get to know them more. Either
Mm.
way, it is that perception that you convert to an actual picture of actual version of who you are getting to kind of know. That helps you understand them, and be much more closer, get attached to each other, and then do certain things. See, people initially, I mean, at the initial stage, you will just say hi, bye, and then maybe you go for a coffee, maybe you go for a drink, or whatever. Then you tend to do things together, you start businesses together, and then, yeah, I mean, for you to do that, you cannot, I mean, someone that I met just yesterday, I cannot just go and say, okay, let's start a business. We can't do that.
Yeah.
You need to kind of understand, know the person well.
What is the topic that you spend most of the time learning these days?
AI, generative AI. So I'm kind of spending a lot of time on prompt engineering these days, learning prompt engineering. So I've done some courses, or I'm doing some courses on LinkedIn right now with regards to prompt engineering, because our backend runs on AI right now. So we have embedded AI onto our learning platform. So I'm looking at ways to kind of understand how it works. Our developer team works on it, but I want to put my hands and understand it way more better. So therefore, I'm learning prompt engineering myself. So that is something that I have put my hands onto these days. Very
Uh,
interesting.
do you have the top three interesting things that you find about that? Because I know you have invested more time so far. So I think you're the qualified person to maybe share based on what you have learned.
What do you mean? Sorry.
Under that topic, AI, whatever you've been learning, what are the top interesting things you have found so far? Maybe one or two would be.
One of the basic things that I figured is the answer depends on the prompt that you give. So if you give like a well-defined prompt, it doesn't have to be lengthy prompts, but if your prompt is very defined and then clear and concise, the answer will be very effective. So we have to that's why learning, studying um, prompt engineering is important.
I think I
That's why
have. Yeah, go on. That's one.
that's one. Another key learnings that I learned these days is that it changes very frequently, and I mean it amazes me. Our co-founder and chief technical officer Buddhika, who's in Australia right now, he runs another parallel platform and a company called Matrix, and then in that he has developed something called um, web. I can't remember the name of that, but it's actually wait, I'll tell you. Screen app. It's called a screen app, an app that he has developed on his own, with his team, of course. Um, it allows you to capture certain videos of whatever. So for an example, let's say this podcast. It allows you to capture the podcast, and then it will allow you. It'll summarize the whole. It'll transcribe the whole thing, and after about, let's say, I think 5 minutes, have a look at it. It's really interesting. That's something I've never seen a model like that before. It's called screenapp.io. So it captures the video, then it takes some time, it transcribes everything, and then, say for an example, you ask the AI, it allows you to ask questions. You ask the AI, what did Anderson say about, and then you give like a prompt, like a command, as say for an example, let's say, what did they say about prompt engineering? Was he right, or did he describe it right? What was wrong with his description? Where did he made the mistake, for an example? And it tells you at minute 3:30 Theje didn't explain it in the right way. This is how he explained it. This is how it should have been explained. I mean, even the um, complex theories or whatever. I recently used that tool for. I was analyzing a lesson of a student and a tutor of ours, and there was a mistake in the teaching, and I figured I wanted to understand, but I'm no expert of science teaching, and I was like lost, and then I was like, what should I do? And then I put it in that, and then ran it, and then said, what was wrong in this teaching? And then immediately it said, at this time, the teacher made this mistake. This is how it should have been, and then it gave the correct formula as to how to teach the formula. So it's that
That's
advanced, and yeah, I think world is moving towards that, but what we need to learn from it is to kind of be
I think we lost Theje due to some internet connections. Tej, are you here? Nope. Okay. I think the only thing we can do is maybe. Oh, okay. All right. So if you're enjoying this episode or any of the previous episodes that were done, make sure that you comment your thoughts, and also if you found anything useful, make sure to share, and also maybe drop us a message with some people that you might want to be a part of this podcast, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that all of us have learned and are learning, and it's worth sharing. The more things we learn and share, it's going to change a lot of people's perspectives. And simply put, let's say someone is trying to become an entrepreneur, and there is another person who has already gone through the same path, and they have got some learnings that they want to share. And if that person who already has the experience shares that with this new entrepreneur, the new entrepreneur can make sure that he doesn't make the same mistakes that the other person made, which means he can save some time and look into some new areas of improvement. All right, I think Tej is back. Tej, what happened?
Lightning, and then it suddenly went off. Power
Oh,
went
wow.
off.
Okay. All right. Final question. So, actually, I have a lot of more questions, but we'll try to summarize it. What kind of a future that you see? Because you're a father as well, right? So, how do you make the children learn, adapt, and live a better life in this new style of world? Because now it's TikTok, AI, Gen Z, all kind of things are popping up here and there everywhere. So if you don't have a strong mindset, it's going to be difficult to know your boundaries and do the right things, because everything that we open and see is kind of manipulative. Some can lead to the right thing, some can lead to the wrong thing. So it's a
Yeah.
mess if you don't have the right mentality to handle it. So how do you see it going, and what do you think about that? How can a parent of this age handle that?
As a parent, I'll give it in different angles. As a parent, I think you need to raise them being humble. No matter what you have, no matter what you give them, whatever you can give them, you need to always kind of make sure um, that you raise them in a humble way, because not being humble is like, or thinking that okay, you are kind of above someone. Even from the child, don't think otherwise. Even from the childhood, if a kid thinks, okay, I'm a little better than these guys, or I'm a little richer than these guys, I'm a little higher, I'm fairer or whatever than these guys, it's as if you are wearing a shade. So um, the more um, things that you give the kids, the more shades that they start wearing, and then they won't see the reality of life and the reality of the world. They will always think, okay, this is the reality. I mean, these guys are not good enough. These guys are below me, subpar, and so on. Therefore, they won't learn um, what's the reality of the world. So one thing is, always teach and always show yourselves um, how being humble is effective, and how being humble can and make you a better person than trying to be someone else, or trying to show off, or trying to kind of um, think that you are above, couple of steps above the other people. Everyone is in that same stage. If you think the world as a stage, we are all in that stage, no matter what which place you're coming from. That's one lesson. And always don't be afraid to give them the freedom. Keep an eye, because we personally, we keep an eye on what they're doing, studies to the people who they are associating to, um, chat groups, how they communicate, the games that they play, or all of that. Because even with that sort of level of keeping an eye or monitoring, they still tend to kind of the way words that they use change, the people that they associate changes, and so on. So without that sort of keeping an eye, I'm not saying you have to take away their freedom, or be like eagles and then watch what they're doing. No, not like that. It's just that keep keep an eye on what these guys are up to, what they're doing, what they talk, what they watch, and so on, and redirect them in a better way. Always redirect them to the right path. If they are kind of, if you see that, okay, these guys are watching YouTube, and then um, as an example, my daughter used to watch um, five 5 minute crafts. It's good, but I don't see a value in watching 5 minute crafts. For, I don't know, my personally, I don't feel any value in that. So I always redirect them. No, don't watch 5 minute craftsmen. Do you think that this is valuable for you? I mean, what are you going to do with this knowledge of painting like popsicle sticks and then putting it on this or whatever? I mean, but instead, try and learn something from this person, or try and learn some sort of a craft, or Mr. Beast. They're like, okay, Mr. Beast had this many followers. I mean, have not having, I mean, having followers just doesn't mean. I mean, but tell them, okay, what you can absorb from that, kind of. So you always need to kind of redirect them, because they're children. There comes a time, let's say 16 or 17 or 18, and after that time you cannot you should not impose rules on them, or kind of trying to kind of put pressure on them. But until such time, you need to redirect them. That will help them
Redirect them in a gentle way.
in a gentle way. I mean, if you're being too pushy, they are going to do it anyways, and they are going to do it when you're not around. That's going to bring worse results.
Super. Thank you so much, Tej, for sharing your experiences and valuable advices. Um, so, hoping to maybe have another episode. Not sure when,
So,
but soon.
yeah, likewise. I'm really glad that we could do this. Um, Thank you for the time and opportunity. Thanks, LD.